Alright mates, how's everyone doing today? Just wanted to fire out another wee video and talk about civilizations today. This is one of those things where most of you will have a good idea, but there's definitely people out there who are not getting the full benefit of what they could be if they had the correct civilization for how they play the game. So I thought it's something we'll have a wee look over. We'll talk about some of the benefits and also have a wee look at stats, because stats is something that, of the units specifically, of what people don't really think about. So yeah, I wanted to have a quick start and look over the beginning of the game civilizations. So when you're first starting, right, and this is probably where you'll come across this video, you'll be looking, what should my first civilization be when I start the game? And the winner for me, and I'll just say this at the start, this is my opinion based on my experience in the game, right? There'll always be someone that disagrees. There's ups and downs for everything, but the clear winner for me is China. If you're starting this game fresh and you're wondering what to pick, you pick China. And that is because of the building speed buff. It also gives you action point recovery. And Sun Tzu is generally probably the strongest epic commander at the start of the game. He's pretty decent. He'll see you through everything. So getting those extra heads for him will give you a boost at the start. So if you're starting this game out, you go China. Okay, that's it. And if you're making a farm, you start your farm as China, and you will switch it to Japan. Now you're leveling up an account around City Hall level 8 or 10, something around there. You will get a free civilization change token, which I'll show you in a wee second. And when you get that, you're going to want to swap over and you'll be Japan for any farms, because it gives resource gathering of 5%. So that gets those two civilizations out of the way. Before we go into the more kind of end game SOC, like what uses of it and stuff are, well, let's talk about how you change civilization. To change civilization, you click here and you just simply pick another civilization, you click switch, and you use one of these tokens in the bottom left. They're called civilization switch tokens, right? We'll actually check what they're called exactly, I don't know. You buy them from the shop, not the VIP shop, the actual shop. Under other, they are called civilization change. It costs 10,000 gems. That's a hefty price of gems. Another way to get them is from your alliance shop. So if you go to your alliance shop and ask an R4 to stock you one, you can see people have bought them here. They are 2 million alliance credits. Now, you should always be buying passports. This is probably the one exception that you don't spend your alliance credits on passports, would be to buy these civ changes if you need one. Now, that gets us back into it. Why would you need one? So let's go over a couple of uses for civilization. So you've finished the early game, so you're no longer China. Where do you go? Now, if you're training, if there's a training event, Germany is a very attractive option. It gives you training speed and it gives you action point of 10%. I'm currently Germany myself. That's because I've done a Zenith, and that 5% with training a lot of power adds up and saves speed ups. So that's why I went Germany. Germany is very good for training. It's okay for fighting. Again, early game, if you're a cav main or something, you get the special unit, which we'll look into in a wee minute. But we'll go over a couple more civilizations that are worth your attention. Now, for me, the overall winner here, and the one that almost everybody should be for field specifically, is France. Now, France is, I mean, it's technically an infantry civilization, but its troop health buff applies to all troop types. So if you're running 5, 3, 5, 7 marches, that buff applies to all your marches. So you get really big value as opposed to something else that gives you just archers or whatever. And also on top of that, the cherry on top, the main reason is the hospital healing speed. Now, I'm a big advocate of France, because what stops you fighting in KVK is when you run out of resources or you run out of speed ups. And if you can make your speed ups last longer, then you're in the fight for longer. And if you just look here, here's the good old calculator for Rock. This is a healing calculator. Let's assume that you have a healing speed bonus of 100. Everyone's different depending on VIP level, circle buffs, KVK, all that, right? But let's assume 100. and you have a KVK hospital full of 700,000 troops, that would take you 16 days and 4 hours. If you were France, you would have 120%, it would take you 14 days. It's over a day saved. You're healing multiple hospitals over a KVK, and every time you're healing it, you're saving about a day and a half. So this adds up. To me, France is a big winner. Okay, so if you're field, my recommendation is that you're France, and if you're not field, what else could you be? So, well, sorry, if you're fielding, you don't care about speed ups. There's 2 more potential options that I would throw out there, and that is because of the march speed. So you could go Rome. Rome gives you infantry defense, it gives you march speed, and we don't care about the food gathering. Okay, and another field option, which is kind of falling out of favour right now because we're moving away from skill damage, is Ottoman Empire. This is also quite strong for field. Again, France gives you all troop type. This is just for archers, but it also gives you all troop type march speed, and it gives you skill damage. Now, Cavs are going combo direction, infantry are going smite. There was a time, about a year and a half ago, where this was like the skin to be, because you would just stack skill damage. Right now, you'd only really benefit that for your skill damage marches you're running. So there is a argument to be made if you're skill damage heavy to run Ottoman. Again, for me, it's France. But those are your 3 field skins. So you have Ottoman, France, and then if you really, I mean, I don't really recommend, but there's also Rome. Okay, infantry are so heavy in defense. It's just Rome is there. It exists. And then if you're rally lead, which you probably already know, it's not really the place to go into this, but just to cover all the bases, you have Greece, which is the infantry civilization, increases your rally damage. You have the equivalent of Egypt, which is for archer, and you have Arabia, which does rally damage for cav. So if you're a rally lead, you can look at these civilizations, but really what it comes down to for me is you start in the game China, your farm's Japan, if you're training it's Germany, and if you're a field fighter it's France, and everything else out of that is kind of specialization and min-max and personal preference. What else does a civilization give you? So a civilization also gives you special units. So a special unit is a variation of the standard unit. For example, you can see it's an elite throwing axeman. So it has 1 more attack and 9 more health. Now this is the highest health infantry troop in the game. There is different stats on every civilization you go to. What was the other one I said? It was Ottomans, right? So if you're Ottomans, you'd have an archer special unit. I have to switch to see it. And you can see the attack is much higher and the health is slightly higher. What do these stats mean? So these stats, when you're crafting gear, a lot of people don't really know. They just look and see the percentage, higher percent or better. Archer attack plus 8%. Now that 8% is 8% more on the base stat of the unit. So if you have a special unit which inherently has more stats, like I said, I'm Germany right now, so you have the Tectonic Knight. If it has higher base units, that percentage increase is higher. So obviously 10% of 220 is higher than 10% of 210. So if you're running early game and you're only running 1 cav march or 2 cav marches, this is something to consider. If you're later in the game, you're running multiple marches, not so much. You can see here the base stats are on the left, and then the additional stats are my buffs. So if you, it's another thing I'll point out just in case you don't know. If you click here, this city hall in the graph, you can see that I have infantry attack, for example, 124% plus defense, 98%. Okay, and you can see everything there. Cav, 130% attack. If you come into here, you will see that the unit is about 130% increase in attack. So everything that you do, your buffs, your gear, your armaments, this is what you're buffing, the base stats, whereas if you didn't have that unit, it would be less. So yeah, I hope that gives you all a wee bit of a insight into why you would pick what civilizations, and it gives you the knowledge that will equip you to make a better decision on what civilization you'll fight with in Rise of Kingdoms, which by the way also used to be called Rise of Civilizations back in the day. But anyway, I'm going off track. So yeah, that's the end of this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Drop me a subscribe and a like if any of this helps. And I will be back in a couple more days with another guide, some more tips, wherever I can. If you want to know anything or any questions about the game, drop it below in the comments and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Goodbye. Bye.